All right. Hello, everyone. We have the Materio demo today. We're going to go through how Materio can help you organize your projects, get you set up for success, get those decisions out of your head and into a system. So we're going to just run through setting up a project, understanding sort of the connectivity and the framework behind Materio. If you have any questions, of course, just drop those in the chat as we go through the demo, and I will be sure to answer them, or we'll send around some follow-up resources afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we're just going to talk through some of the general things that we're seeing right here in our project. So I'm in a project right now, of course, in Materio. You can have all of your projects. This is an individual one, and we're very much project-based. That's where we're going to sort of operate inside of each project and keep that project organized and flowing and moving forward. So in our project here, we have our visuals over here on the right. That can be floor plans, that can be elevations, that can be boards that you've put in here. And we'll go ahead and just get rid of that one because it's from a previous one. Okay, so we've got our floor plans in here, boards, and then we can stack things into stacks, which is just folders. That's going to keep us organized, keep our floor plans nice and tidy. If we have a bunch of boards, we want to organize those there for a potential presentation or archive things. It's just going to be a great place to keep your information. And then over here on the left, we have our scope of work. Now, there's not much in my scope of work right now. We're going to build that out together, but it's just going to highlight sort of what is there. Let's actually go ahead and look at a more filled out project. This is a great example of a more filled out project, not tons, but we can see here we've got tile, we've got lights that are in the project. So you can see where Materials markers is going to use that to connect to the scope of work over here on the left. So that's not only going to keep you organized, help your clients see sort of where their investment's going and why it might cost a certain amount, but it's also going to be a really handy tool for getting that out to the field, keeping that field team organized and making sure that they have the information that they need. So in this project, you can see I've got a variety of items in different statuses or states right now. So we've got ordered, in progress, complete, approved, shipped. All of that project management is going to be done right here in this system. And it's going to be really easy to track because Materio is going to kind of keep you moving in the next steps. So we've got our scope of work over here. It's outlined. We've got budgets. In this one, we've got some things already sort of in progress. And all of that is going to live here. And this is also a great example of, you can upload renderings here. Again, you can create boards, and on those boards, you can create product boards. So anything you've kind of sourced and already organized is going to be thrown onto a board super easily, where you can see different versions of this. And so this is just going to be what we're aiming for, is to get really organized and structure our projects properly. So we're going to head back over to that project where we don't have much. And today we're just going to focus on this primary bathroom as a key example of just a small project that we're going to be doing. Now, a lot of the customers using Materio are doing really large scale projects, complex projects that require a lot of decisions to be kept organized and stay on top of it. That's going to be great. That's going to kind of be the sweet spot here. But to keep it simple for today's, just sort of basics demo, we're going to just work on this bathroom. So I'm actually going to go ahead and clear out a few of these, and we're going to switch to location. So I've got my design services in here. That's great. But now I'm actually going to go through adding a location. I should mention that we do have a variety of tutorials on our YouTube channel. We have specifically a video around getting that design agreement signed and paid and sending all of that over. So be sure to check that out. I will link it here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a location. And in this case, we're going to do our bathroom. You'll also notice that when you're exploring Materio, there are these kits down here. Kits are just saved locations or saved rooms, templates. That's going to allow you to easily pull in full rooms with budgets really quickly. So you can use that in Materio if you're on our second tier and above, and you can really get customized templates there, really build out rails for your company, for your firm and how you want to operate and the budgets that you typically work within. So just know that's there and feel free to explore it. We're going to go ahead and add some items to our bathroom in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in some electrical because we have sconces that we want. let's say that we have a shower fan, we have a shower light, we have a flush mount, let's say over the tub. And again, you may not know the specific direction, but you may say tub light, you may say that, etc. So now we've got these items in here. And one thing I want to call out is that Materio has this concept of a selection item. This is going to allow you to add SKUs, individual products as options to these items and eventually go through an approval workflow with your client. So this is really helpful for just keeping your design team organized, making sure that they don't miss anything, and keeping it really super structured. So we're going to just know that that's there. But for now, we're going to start budgeting and placing markers on the plan. So for sconces, again, I'm just going to guess that these are around, I want to spend $500 and I've got my default markup in there and my tax. So it's helping me budget. And then on top of that, I of course need to think about how many I have. Now this is a floor plan. So of course, if you're actually placing things, you may have an elevation, you may not, depending on the size of the project. We're just going to say that we're aiming for over the mirror sconces here or wall mounts, we're going to put them, and you'll see that Materio is quantifying that for me. So because I placed 2 markers, I now know that I have 2 units, and it's going to do that math for me. So now you can see that I have $2,000 client budget, and my cost is still $500 a unit. And so that's very clear to me what my client budget is, and it's very clear to my client what their budget is. So we're going to go ahead and just also do this for the other items really quickly. And then I want to show you, and this probably actually would be a light combination. So we'll just, maybe we'll actually get rid of that one. And then we're going to have some sort of light over the tub here. Maybe it's to the right for breaking rules. Okay. And then I want to go ahead and add in some plumbing, right? So I want to go ahead and select plumbing, and I want to do the tub filler. I want to do the shower system. I want to do the faucets. And so I'm just typing and clicking enter. Now I do have, if we go into certain items, I might have kits or saved items built out, and those will populate as I do if I have those saved in my account. So this is a Materio and this is plumbing. Great, we've got our faucet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and again mark these plans here so that I can connect the two. I want my tub filler over here. I want my shower system right here. And I want my faucets over here. I've got 2 of those. All right, so you can see that I've started to mark up the plumbing. I've started to mark up the electrical. One other thing that we want to do is make sure that we're highlighting the tile here. So let's go ahead and do the floor tile. Let's do the shower wall tile. And let's do the shower floor tile. All right. So we're going to go ahead and mark those as well. I'm going to budget them just quickly at $10 each. Again, the kits is going to make this super easy if you can use those kits, have that pricing already in there. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and mark the plans here. So I'm going to use our polygon tool, and that's going to allow you to do sort of odd shapes and customize that really well. We're just going to trace this here. We're going to hit save, and then of course we're going to add in our waste factor. So really quickly, we're understanding exactly what it takes. For the wall tile, in this case, I'm going to use our linear foot tool because I don't have an elevation here. And I'm just going to kind of use this as a really quick guesstimate of what this is going to take. So I'm going to circle where I want that, and I'm going to go up with the height. So this is really useful if you're doing wall tile, backsplash, wallpaper, drywall, whatever it is, when you need to figure out how much square footage you have using linear feet. And I'm going to add my waste factor on there as well. So again, it's just a really great way to get a quick budget together for your client. And then last, I'm going to use this area tool to just mark the floor tile in the shower. All right. So we've got our bathroom coming together here. We've got our budget coming together for the bathroom. We're starting to sort of see what things might cost. One thing I want to call out, you can also pull in placeholder budgets from your library. So if you've built out your design library, you're starting to clip products in, you can go ahead and just pull those in from your library. So I might use this tub, for example, as the budget. And I might use this tub filler. Let's find one for the budget on this. Again, I can just pull those in. Now your client's not going to see these actual products. In this case, they're really just seeing the budget number. And so later we'll actually select full shower systems and things and give them actual options. This is simply for budgeting sake. So I've really quickly got a budget together, which is awesome. Now I can send this over to my client using our contract feature over here, and I can sort of summarize to them, what it's going to take to do this project. And this can be before I even start to source anything, right? This is all to be selected. This is all sort of preliminary budgets. You can adjust your contract terms in here, send this over as sort of part of your initial agreement. So I just wanted to highlight that you can do that here. So now that I have these items really, really organized, I've got budgets for things, I'm starting to think about the work that needs to be done. I've moved forward with agreement from my client. Now I get to do the fun part, which is actually starting to think about pulling products in and understanding, what comes next. So in this case, I'm going to head over to the selections tab, which is the third one down here. This is going to be a really big, like I say all the time, a visual checklist of what is needed on your project. What does your design team actually have to do? What are the things I need to source? What are the things I need to be thinking about when they're doing the designs? These are, actual products and decisions. So here you can see that I have everything in the bathroom. The default view here is going to be location. Of course, if I'm thinking about sourcing plumbing or electrical, something specific, I can sort by category. And then what I'm going to do is a few things. I'm going to use our Chrome extension to pull in products. So I'm going to use our clipper to pull in products. We have a video on that. It's just the Chrome extension. You'll get a little pop-up to download that. So make sure you do that if you're in trial, get that Chrome extension, because what that means is you'll be able to clip directly to these items from your clipper, or you can pull from your library like we did before. And we can even have these subgroups in our library where we're starting to pull different options for our client. So I'm going to choose these three. And I do just want to highlight that as you're pulling in these products, as you're clipping them, and it's something that you definitely want to take seriously, you want to consider pulling in things like what we have here, these installation sheets and specification sheets. We want to make sure that we're pulling in proper discounts and markup, which can all be directly connected to your vendor contact list in Materio. So we're going to pull that automatically for you and really try to help you not miss a beat when it comes to pricing and budgeting and making sure that you're making money on these items. So you'll see that I've got a lot of information on these items when I pull them in. I've got lead time, all the specs. I've got, a link to the website, attachments, etc., which is all really helpful once one of these is approved and handed off. So I'm going to pull those in, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like to pull in a few of these items here. Let's actually search here. We'll pull these in. This one too. And then we're going to pull in a shower system here. So what we're going to do in this moment is really start to look at what's needed for our client. We're obviously doing design. We might be doing sort of a concept board prior to this phase. We're kind of skipping over the design. But what we're trying to do is make sure that we can actually source products within these budgets. This is a great example of when something is new. When I've recently clipped it in the last 24 hours, it'll show up at the top of that section. It's also a great reason to utilize the categories in the scope of work because it allows you to quickly jump into right where you need to jump in. So we're going to go ahead and pull a few of these. Let's actually filter down here. We'll pick this one. Okay. And then we'll pick an option for this as well. We're going to do this one and this one. Okay. So we're starting to pull together our product, and then we're going to go through what it looks like to add these to a board. Another thing you'll see here is when I'm pulling items from my library, we do have this little puzzle piece icon. That is our components feature. I would love for you to check out our video on components. So we're going to just pull a few of these quickly so you can see this in action. All right, so we've got a few options under each of those. And what this is going to do is allow you to have some structure and organization around the options that you actually want to present to your client. So we're naturally going to keep you really organized here. And then we're going to be able to kind of put these into a design presentation. So we're going to do a new board here. I'm going to go ahead and make a nice background color. You can save, put in your brand hex codes here or RGB. And then I'm going to go ahead and call this the bathroom. And you can also customize the text. So I'm going to go ahead and find a text that I like and make it a little bit bigger, bring it over here. It's a little too big. You can also, of course, customize the color of your text if you'd like. All right, so we've got our text there. Now what's really cool is because I've clipped those products and put them on the items, I can easily just hit add selection and do everything in the bathroom all at once onto this board. So it's going to drop it in like a grid structure here. I need to fix this one because it has a picture on it that's not so pretty. But what this is going to do is allow me to make a board that is really pretty. You can see I can toggle between option 1, option 2, option 3. I can bring things to the top. So for example, this is actually the bathroom shower. We're going to turn that label off. I can pull these in, remove the background. I can start to kind of get set up with what I want to show my client in this board. I can make it look really nice. I can bring in, the shower system here. This is the shower wall tile, so we want to put that over here. Next to that, maybe this is the floor tile. We have the flush mount. And then let's say this is the bathroom floor tile. All right, so we're going to bring it over here. You can always duplicate these. So if I want to represent, okay, well, we have 2 sconces over the vanity and the tub filler is here, and the faucet is here. Obviously, these are kind of over here. We can kind of play around with sizing these and doing what I like to call like a pseudo rendering here. But this just gives you a sense of what you can do with the tool. We're not going to make this look super pretty today. And then maybe you're like, well, I haven't actually picked a countertop yet. I didn't add that in. You can also pull from your library at any point. It's just going to pull in different options here, and it's not going to be connected to the product, but I will show you what that looks like in a second. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to do bathroom, and we're going to save that board. And I'll show you the difference in sort of what a linked item looks like and a non-linked item. So really quickly, you can see that these are hoverable and they're actually connected to the scope of work over here on the left. Now, this countertop is not connected to the scope of work because we place that in. But any of these items that are actually scope of work, those are going to be connected, which is really great for getting this design presentation out to your client in a really clear way. The other thing I love is that we can just duplicate this board and then we can come in without having to reconfigure the layout. We can actually toggle between the different options here. So we're going to just toggle between these, and we're going to remove those backgrounds. And again, we're just toggling between all the second options. And this just allows us to really easily see what the options are without having to totally redo the board. So I love that functionality. I love that we can kind of easily throw together these second options, and we can really kind of present to our clients, hey, we've got this scheme and we've got this second scheme. So I'll just update this. And so now we have, the first version and the second version. And of course, I'm in New York City and someone's honking outside, so I apologize that it's really loud. All right, so we've got our boards here and those are ready to go. So now we're going to send our selections over to our client for approval. And this is really great because Materio is going to let me know if I'm missing anything, like this one is missing a price. So I might not want to send that over, or I may want to go fix that first. It's also going to let you know if some items are missing markup. So this is huge because it's going to allow you to not miss those things when you're going to send this over to your clients. All right, I'm going to send my client an invite to actually join me in Materio. This is great because they can create a login, they can communicate, comment, approve, pay things. It's going to make them love sort of what's going on in the project and have great visibility into what's happening, of course, while protecting you and making you look really professional and polished. So we're going to send this over and we're going to go ahead and send our selections. It's warning me because I didn't fix some of the markups, but that's okay. I'm going to ignore it for now. So now these have moved over to client review, and your client's going to get an email. Hey, Chow Studios has sent you these selections to approve. All right, so now let's go ahead and view it as the client and make some of these decisions. So again, I love that when you send the selections over to the client, if you've created these room boards, they can very easily click on them and actually make the choices right here. So now you'll see this one's declined, and this is the one that is actually approved. They can come in, make these decisions. So I just like that they can use that as a navigation tool. Now they can see the floor plans and they can kind of click on these markers as well, but I think clients love to have the boards, and it really does help remove that need for an additional design presentation outside of the system. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this view. But you'll see that as things change, as they're in review, as they're approved, all of those statuses are going to be kept right here. And then also over in the selections workspace under approved, we've got all of our statuses here. So we're really starting to keep up with where things are at. Is it organized? Do I know what's been approved? Do I know what's been ordered? It can all be right here. Now, on our sort of organized tier of Materio, there are you're not going to have access to orders, which is an amazing feature that we have, but you can still come in and update these things to ordered. You can add notes here if you need to. The timeline is also not included, but you can schedule them if you decide to later upgrade to that. But we're going to go ahead and just update these to ordered. So you can use this section to really start to specify what's been ordered, have things been shipped, enter in, tracking information and carrier information here, add notes for your team, like, ETA is 510. All of that can be really helpful. Even though you're not utilizing the orders part of Materio or the timeline portion of Materio, it allows you to keep up to date with everything that is here. So the approved section is really the section you're going to go to kind of keep track of those really visual statuses and see where things are at. Now, of course, before we actually move forward with ordering, typically what we want to do is make sure we've collected payment on all of those items. So I will highlight that really quickly. In Materio, you're going to come to your finances tab on the bottom left, and you're going to go to invoicing. And this is where you're going to be able to send retainers at the beginning of projects or throughout the project for FF&E, collect deposits on specific line items, and send those final invoices, issue credits, etc. So we're going to go ahead and collect a deposit on some items, and I'm going to send this to my client. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is the FF&E deposit. And I'm going to add items from my scope. Now, in Materio, anything that has a dollar amount, whether it's estimated, in review, approved, can all be billed to your client. And this is sometimes a little bit daunting for designers, but what this means is that we're actually keeping track of when things change. So whether you've just estimated it or whether it's approved, whenever that item shifts from a budgetary perspective or from a dollar perspective, we are tracking that and we're making sure that we are up to date. So even if you collected, the estimated amount on this tub filler and your client approved something different, we would keep track of that. We would help you issue a credit by default or collect more if the price went up. So I'm going to go ahead and bill for all the things that I have in review. Let's say I'm really trying to get going on orders. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And in this case, I'm going to bill for about 80%. And I'm going to delay, because I'm doing a deposit, the tax here. So consult your accountant on that. But I'm going to delay collecting the tax. And I'm going to go ahead and format this in a nice, pretty way where they can see the location, they can see the images of things that are approved. And we do have Materio Pay, which is a native payment processor, which allows you to collect money through the system. It's a great way to get paid, to make things really efficient for your team. And I'm going to go ahead and send this over to my client. You can utilize the reminder system of our platform when you're on the highest tier of Materio. So any of those little extra automations and bonuses, those are going to come on our optimized tier. All right, so I've synced that over to QuickBooks. My invoice is sent. For the sake of this, we'll just say that we received a check, and we're going to send that confirmation over to our client. Okay, so now that it's syncing to QuickBooks and it has been paid, if I head back over to this, you'll see that in the selections workspace, in the approved, I can see this is partially paid. So that's awesome, because then I can, at a glance, know what's paid. I can see, okay, this is on this deposit date. You can see that it's here. You can see the shipping information. Anything that's connected to that item is going to be here. Now, again, we're not going to go over the orders today. That is in the second tier. That's in the systematized tier. But what this is going to do is allow you to at least keep track of this here. And if you're really looking for looking at financial performance and profitability, you're going to want to make sure that you're looking at integrating the order section of Materio and really getting that line by line sort of performance that comes with running projects fully, in Materio. So all right. I hope that this has been helpful. This is really just how Material can help you organize and structure your projects, can keep your team in line. And it's not those manual spreadsheets where things get lost, items fall off a cliff, the wrong thing is ordered. It's all going to be tracked right here. Your client is going to have an easy, beautiful way to view their projects. You're not having to duplicate those design presentations in another system, and you can get paid and know exactly what you've been paid for right here. So if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to us at hello@materio.co. We would love to help. So explore those options of reaching out or checking out other videos on our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you around. Bye.